Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk about my first paranormal experience. For starters, I drew a map, right? So this would hopefully make a little more sense in a way. So about 4 years ago, I was really into photography, right? And so I contacted one of my other photographer friends and we kind of decided to like tag team where she would take pictures of me, I would take pictures of her, and we would give each other like photo tips and just hang out and have fun. We were trying to decide on a location, something that was kind of private where we could just kind of be by ourselves and chill and whatnot. So she suggested this one spot that she's been to multiple times. She's taken pictures of friends and such there before. And it was basically, it's a huge, I'm gonna guess like 12 foot tall tunnel, and maybe it's less than a half a mile long. I mean, when you look at it, you can see through it, like all the way to the other side, clearly, like clear as day, like it's not a blur, you can see. So maybe it's not a half, I don't know how long it is. It's not very long. But it's covered in graffiti. And it sounded pretty cool to me, because back then I was all about like interesting backgrounds for pictures and stuff, and yeah. So we decided to go there, and we get there, right? Okay, now here's my map. Okay, here's our car. Now normally, like, here's the gate, and normally it's open. This time it was closed. So like normally you can drive through and you can park like right here and then you walk the rest of the way. But today, the gate was locked and closed. So we parked and we started to walk. Now, as we're walking, she's telling me that she's kind of heard that homeless people and kind of sketchy people hang out here. She's never come across any every time she has a photo shoot out there, but it doesn't mean, this time will be the one time that there is. We both agreed that if we saw anybody that looked kind of sketchy or creepy or homeless, that we would just leave just for safety and for peace of mind. And yeah. And so she also tells me that there's kind of a scary story behind this tunnel, and immediately I tell her not to tell me because I will scare myself, or if it's like a really scary story, I'm probably not gonna want to go there, And so she didn't tell me anything. I told her to tell me the story when we were leaving, like when we're done, when we're over this place. So we're about like right here, which is like maybe 30 feet away, I'm guessing, from the tunnel. And you can see like the top of the tunnel, and it's so cool. There's like these graffiti flames that are coming out of it. So awesome. And then there's all this other graffiti art that's coming out on the bottom and everything, and you can see it going into the tunnel. And when we're right here, we get a little closer, probably like right here, maybe where it's like maybe 20 feet away, and she's talking, and as she's talking, I'm hearing like two male voices, like two men talking to each other in the tunnel, and it's really echoing. I can't make out what they're saying, but I'm very aware that there are two men, two different tone voices talking to each other. Now, when she stops talking, the voices stop talking. So it's kind of tripping my ears and my brain out. Like, I'm kind of not understanding. And it kind of stops because I'm thinking, hopefully, I mean, they're men. Hopefully they're not scary, sketchy, creepy men or homeless men. Because I'm going to want to leave. Like, I mean, I'm not brave really when it comes to stuff like that, and she seemed totally fine. Like, she just kept walking and kept talking like she didn't even hear him. I mean, they were loud enough for me to hear from 15-20 feet away, and it was really loud. It was loud enough that both of us should have heard it. Well, I figured if she kept walking and she looked like she was totally fine and felt safe, well, then I feel safe too and totally fine. So I kind of just blew it off and thought, well, maybe it's just other people hanging out in the tunnel. Closer and closer to the tunnel, and I kind of pretend that I'm all excited, and so I run up to the tunnel, and I'm running, and I hear the voices. As soon as I get to the entrance of the tunnel, the voices stop. My heart's like pounding like a million miles an hour. Like the voices are clear for me to hear them, but I can't. They're not clear enough for me to like hear what they're saying. But as soon as I even see the in entrance of the tunnel, the voices just stop. It's gone. And like, I mean, I'm getting chills now because I mean, even being like 3 years ago, it still kind of freaks me out a little bit. Yeah. So I kind of, as soon as they stop, I just kind of like, I can't comprehend it. So I just totally, I blow it off. I ignore it. I'm like, that was just weird. Maybe it didn't happen, you know? So I try to forget about it. So we get all our gear out and we start just hanging out, having fun. I take pictures of her first, and then she started to take pictures of me. And she's directing, tell me to smile or pose a certain way, and or do something. Near like the beginning part of where the tunnel starts. We didn't really venture into the middle or further. We just kind of hung out near the entrance. And now the middle of the tunnel is about maybe 10 feet away from where we are. And as she's talking and clicking her camera and everything, I start hearing these voices again from the middle of the tunnel. Now it sounds exactly like the voices I heard earlier, but it almost sounds like the volume's been turned down. Kind of like it's like they're not whispering, they're not mumbling, they're just kind of, it's like, I mean, I guess it is kind of like mumbling because I can't understand what they're saying, but it's the same tones, but it's like they're just, the volume has been turned down. And I only hear these voices when she's talking or clicking the camera. And I mean, it's like overload on my brain. Like I can't concentrate. It's like I'm trying to kind of listen and pay attention to what the voices are and where they're coming from, but I'm also trying to pay attention to her, like directing and stuff. And finally I just told her to stop. I was like, okay, I am hearing voices. And I was like, what the heck happened here? Like, I'm hearing things. This is weird. And all she does is like smile at me, and she's like, I've taken who knows how many people here to take pictures of. Every single one of them has heard voices. And she's like, are they guys? Are they men? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, do you know how badly I want to hear these voices? She's like, I've never heard them. All of my friends have heard them. And so I thought that was kind of weird. Like, she wants to hear them so badly, and I'm just hearing them out of nowhere, And the voices kind of stop at that point. And I so desperately wanted to debunk this, right? I don't want to debunk this, right? So I get up. I was like, let's take a break for a minute because there has to be a person. So we run to the other side of the tunnel, the end of it, and there's no. I mean, we can see from where we are the end of the tunnel, the outside area, the naturey area, the trail that's out there very clearly. It's not like so long of a tunnel that you just see a bright light. You can see clearly to the other side. So we get to the other side and there's nobody. There's no traces of a person. And I mean, they would have had to have been pretty fast in a way. But it was confusing because it sounded like they were no more than 10 feet away in the middle of the tunnel, right? So I was just really confused and lost, and I kind of wanted to leave. It was a really short shoot. We were there for no more than 20 minutes. And so we leave and we decide to leave, and as we're leaving, I asked her, I was like, so what's the story behind this tunnel? And she was telling me that back in like the 70s and 80s, I believe, that there were satanic rituals that took place there, like burning of Bibles, animal sacrifices, all that stuff. And that also, about maybe 6 months prior to that day, a homeless man was found dead there. I cannot remember if it was like he just dropped dead or if somebody killed him. I can't remember. But yeah. So that kind of freaked me out a little bit, but it was kind of like it made sense to me that, I heard these voices and it's maybe in relation to these events, maybe. Like if nothing bad happened here, why am I hearing voices? So it was kind of like, okay, maybe that's why I heard voices. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, they can't be good voices, right? So, yeah. Now, as we're driving away, I can't stop thinking about it. And all I kept thinking in my head was, I freaking heard voices that I can't pinpoint. And every single person that I've ever told this story to, I mean, pretty much everybody that I've told this story to, they always say, well, there had to have been somebody on top of the tunnel. Now, I went back to these tunnels and I brought my husband and my brother to these tunnels to show them, because I was telling them about what I experienced. And so we went there, and I kind of used them as kind of like an experiment where I told them to go into the tunnel and start talking. And I went back to the same spot where I heard. Dude, it sounded exactly like the voices when they were in the middle of the tunnel. I told them to stand in the middle and just start talking. It was exact, but the only difference was I could understand what they were saying. It sounded clearer what they were like. I could kind of understand more of pronunciations of words and what they were saying, and when they were laughing, you know, certain things. That was the only difference. The tone, the echoing, it was exact. It freaked me out. That this tunnel is also referred to as Satan's Palace. And I really have no desire to really go back there at all. I did actually go back there this last, about maybe, when was that? I did go back to that tunnel not that long ago. I didn't really want to go. Dude, that was the weirdest thing ever. What was that? I don't know. Let me see. Ah! I'm dropping everything. Okay, so things are falling apart. I guess this is it for now. Yeah, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!